Så där va. Yes. Good evening and welcome back yet again to Dr. Pleuring's computer laboratorium. I have to thank Harvey Ellis 6758. This video looks like it was done by a 10-year-old kid, both for quality and content. Very funny. Very good. Thank you so very much for that. Did you just screw around with your... Never mind. Yes, so the NAS here, I don't need to hold the camera constantly. I have a stationary camera too. Not bad for a 10-year-old. Anyway, cheers. Yes. Right. I've been considering a few options here, and regarding reusing an old a QNAP. What is the model number of this thing anyway? It has a model number, does it not? It must have something. Yes. I took this. I had to drill away. Is there like a model number or something? No. MAC addresses, serial number. Sure. Great. Anyway, it has something going on here on the motherboard. This is the original motherboard from this chassis, right? This is the power supply for the hard drives, right? And it has a gray wire for some reason, where usually you'd have a black for a second ground. But they might be using it for something, considering they have connections on the motherboard for it. But so I need to splice into power somewhere, and it has this connector coming out. So I suppose I just simply either splice in. I can splice in here. This is removable, easy to work on. Splice in, but no, I need 5. Yes, but most likely, if one could be so bothered as to try and remove pins from, ATX connectors like these, I ought to have 1 or 2 lying about. This is an ATX connector, but no, this is something else. This is not an ATX connector. This is something. Yes, but it may conform to the old 20-pin standard. It might. Sure. Yes, and here then, if we remove the old motherboard from the QNAP, wasn't it called 809 or something? Maybe. I was planning on using that motherboard. However, that's a bit nice to have available and a bit more accessible. I did have this thing, very old thing, lying around, which I bought new in like 2011. It's a Super Micro card. Let me get it out of here. There we go. Super Micro for the good old generation of Intel Xeon CPUs, the X50. It was so long ago, 56, 96, something or other. I think I have one of those lying around in the Dell workstation, right over here. Not any. Sure, there you go. Dell Precision. Yeah, sure. Great. Let's get on with it. This solves. Initial idea was also to use this motherboard. One of these here. It's not quite visible what this is, but it's this same thing as this one, except this has two external SAS connections, right? And the other one has them internally instead for internal connectors. Right, so but it's pretty damn large compared to the original one. It is, and but it does fit just barely, just barely. Power from here, all these would have to be spliced and joined up somehow. I could build an adapter maybe or fit pins. Yeah, but even if I fit the pins in, I still need the 12 volts as well. Yes, what does a hard drive actually use in terms of like what should we call it? Power. This is not a very representative hard drive. If you can have something representative, this may be. This Western Digital did the win WD-40 E4X. Sure, I just now see that the camera is lagging, and if the video lags, yeah, then it will look like a fucking 10-year-old made it. Anywho, 10-year-olds are maybe not allowed to swear, and maybe so. I can swear all I want, för helvetes jävla fitta. Jag svär fan jävla mycket jag vill. Får bara inte svära på ert jävla töntiga språk. Fittkuk. Anyway, so this is one of the features here that I want for it with external SAS thing. These. Yes, and that goes into the very, very, very noisy Dell. Something like that. 15 drives in it. But to be able to hook up to that, perhaps. That can also be directly hooked up via this connector to my main server for very good transfer speeds. We're limited to 1 gigabit still. Yes. Anywho, so this is just to be able to use this drive base is all that I'm after. And how much customization would one have to do? It does sort of fit like that, more or less, but I need RAM, I need CPU, and I probably don't want my X5690 here. I want something that is quite it's quite relative for this era than what you call power efficiency, but still something small. If I might have something, might have the original CPU that I bought with the board. Like that's probably one of the cheaper ones, quite maybe the cheapest one. And RAM, there should be plenty laying about. We have that card, and this solves another problem with the chassis. To be able to use the chassis. Each of the drives from the backplane, if you can call it a backplane, it's pretty nicely built for it's made for like consumer drives, and I think it's a good solution. Yeah, it works. So this to plug that into one of these cards, you'd have to get something strange little adapter that would go and have things that these could plug into, which is a very rare use case. Right. So what one of the advantages of using this board is that this has a built-in one of those, more or less. I think more or less the same-ish, anyway, close enough-ish. Maybe 1 generation older. So this would be maximum 2 terabyte drives, but that's okay because the external box is also maximum 2 terabyte drives. That's good. So we're good. However, it would be maybe nice to be able to. It would have been nice to be able to use like fours and sixes in here too. Yes, but you could get this like going pretty much like in soon-ish. But then also this motherboard is from to 2011, I believe. I bought it new. I'm the only owner on it. That if you want to go buy something like this on eBay, damn it, they go for many money, expensive. Yes, and if this turns out to be, but probably yeah, a CPU cooler as well. And I just realized this heatsink, is sort of will be preheating the air, let's say, for the CPU. See how will it go out reasonable? I think it has like exit ports all over for the three fans. So yes, it has a nice, great. It's a bit of a tight squeeze, but it does sort of fit. There are only two holes that line up, but they do actually line up, I think. More or less, close enough-ish. Yeah, I do believe. So yeah, we can get torch on too. One hole, and we have one hole. It's not perfectly lined up, but it's close enough. And there we have those. They will go. These will go into there, and system hard drive, and yeah, that's also the thing. I think I'd still want this card inside it because you'd also maybe want to plug in things temporarily into it. This would be like a storage thing and hard drive scrubber, whatnot, doing all sorts of business. Take you out. Take this contraption here. Sure. There's the problem though. This power supply, it doesn't have any Molex connections available to us. No. These things. That's all right, or maybe not all right, and the bracket will have to come off. That's okay. Don't really need it that much. The thing is grounded through something, although a lot of this screwdriver is incorrect for the job, mate. It's not going to work. So externally, you'd have. You could just lay drives around with these. These are very handy. This is sort of a little bit of a homemade modification, but yes, it's pretty good. It's a bit short here, but whatever. If you have this externally, you can plug in four drives easily. I'm not trusting the camera here since it's lagging, but try and put you here. Succeeding very nicely. There you go, maybe. Oh, screw. A good thing about these is that the thread is on the bracket, so you can put the screws back, and therefore you do not add to the pile of random screws that you already might have acquired. Which maybe if you I simply put the screw in there, and yeah, and go hunt for CPU and RAM, all sorts of business, and also this, yeah, the power connection thing would be something. But this also has this a bit. This has like a display and stuff on it. And LEDs, different LEDs for the different hard drives. That's all on special proprietary stuff on this motherboard. I think that the system drive on it is actually connected via parallel HEA, 128 megabytes. Yeah, well, it probably works quite well. It probably still works just fine. There you go. Yes, this would go in here somewhere, like down here. Since we need no external access from it anyway. There you go. Yes, this old motherboard. I remember that the internal built-in HPA controller had something wonky with it after a few years or something. I think I refrained from using it, but it's not completely broken, if I don't misrecall. That's not quite very good. Yeah, and alternatives to this, I don't really have any good alternatives to this, I don't think. This is nice. This has ECC RAM, and I have a lot of this RAM stuff lying around. The problem is the CPU, and it's cooler. Very much it's cooler will be tall, and these are too tall as is. Just not by a lot. Really not by a lot. Bet you could almost get laid on, you think? You could, but you probably it might wear on them, and it will also lock them in place, sort of, since we don't have brackets for them. Air would flow in over hard drives through these, sucked through these fans and blown through very nicely. Very nice design. Yes, and it would blow very nicely across. This one blows across the power supplies and the RAM and Northbridge. What is it? It's cooling on this. It gets really hot. And this really shouldn't. That must be that green thing. Must be the SAS control, maybe. Ja, så att det that's one way forward, anyways. Or another way is using that motherboard instead. But it's up to This one also has PCI slots. Old school. But it's good sturdy stuff. Maybe. Before going too far, modifying and making the board fit and everything mounted properly, it will be fit with 2 screws and rubber, probably some sort of insulating support underneath, because they will be in maybe random spots. Right, fan headers I don't think will be a problem, because these, are, as far as I could make out, completely standard 4-pin fan connectors, wherever they are. Here, there's one. And that could connect here, for example, where it says CPU fan. It isn't quite. The CPU fan is more like this one, actually. This is the, what does it say up here? Yes, it says fan 1 CPU. That is not it. CPU will be this one. It doesn't really. Yeah, it's coming out. So that's the plan. Maybe one of the plans, one of the possibilities. Here, I shall not ramble on more now. Cheers.